I want to say, it's an M.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like, I'm just something, I can't think of the name.
Okay, you read her book.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had to read it.
Mahala? No, it's not Mahala.
Is it?
It's something like that. You guys know who we're talking about?
Malala?
Yeah, we're in the ballpark.
Malala.
Yeah, she ended up getting, young, when she was a teenager, she got shot on a bus. Somebody tried to assassinate her, and she's still been an outspoken person in her, because where she's from in the Middle East, they don't like her saying the things that she was saying and doing the things that she was doing, so they tried to kill her as a teenager, but she survived, and she's still speaking out for her people and her community. Okay, so anybody else read any other autobiographies?
I read some like in school, but that was like Anne Frank's.
Who'd you read?
I think Anne Frank's diary.
Anne Frank's diary. Okay. Anybody else? You read an autobiography or biography? Like I said, it's just curiosity. You read Martin Luther King? Mostly not had a dream speech. See, that makes sense now. While your role models would be people who are in president, because those are people who are presented to you in social media. Those are people you're talking about. So you're going to hear more about, I don't know, LeBron James than you would hear about Gandhi. Most of you probably know more about Jordan or LeBron than you do Gandhi. I don't even think they talk about Gandhi in school. Does anybody talk about Gandhi in school? Okay. All right. Okay. So, thanks for addressing my curiosity, my question. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Jones.
How are we doing today?
All is well, sir.
All is well. Who said tired? Party in the hall weekend?
Party and doing 10-hour shifts.
And 10-hour shifts? That's called burning the candle at both ends, Jack.
Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Yeah.
But hey, do you. All right, well, before we begin, you know how we start at the beginning of a new week, a new day. Let's start with some positivity. Who wants to share something positive that you've experienced since we were last together, or something that you're grateful for? Yes.
I'm getting that.
You're getting a what? You're getting a what? Oh, you said for your birthday? When is your birthday? Creepy. Are you getting a creepy tattoo?
No.
Okay. You know what? You want to share with us what you're getting? You don't have to.
It's just like lines and like,
This is a design.
it's like vines.
Vines. Okay. So you're excited about it, right? Okay. Great. Okay. One more person. Something cool you want to share that you've experienced since we were last together, or something that you're grateful for. The draft, nobody now. Come on. Yeah, get in place. Okay. Let's see. Saeed, what you got for me?
Me?
Yeah. Something grateful, something you did cool recently, or something you're grateful for.
I'm grateful to have practiced for the test, hoping to see what grade I got.
Okay. All right. Well, in a moment, I'm going to talk about the test. So, okay. Well, I'm glad you're grateful that you got prepared for the exam. All right. You guys ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's do it. Okay. First, let me make today's announcements. We're starting a new discussion or a new chapter today. It's all about development, which is chapter 9. And in this chapter, we're going to focus on how we grow and evolve and change physically, mentally, cognitively, from the moment we're born until we reach the age of becoming an elderly person. So that's going to be starting today. Also, your next set of quizzes are due next Monday. That is October 13th. Chapter 6, memory. Chapter 8, motivation and emotion. Yes, ma'am.
What if you missed the exam?
Okay, I'm gonna get to that. That's a good question. That's a very good question. Her question was, what if you missed the exam? I'm gonna get to that. All right. So, speaking of exams, in case you weren't aware, your test scores are located in Blackboard at this very moment. I think I put it in a day or two ago. If you would like to see what your score was after class, I have the Scantron sheets here with me. You're more than welcome to take a look. I did do a 5-point bonus curve because I'm such a great guy. And yeah, so that's your score. Please do not forget to do the quizzes. I know I mentioned the quizzes are due next Monday. That carries a much greater weight than the test. Don't stress yourself out about the test. It's not, yes, you should want to do your best, but if you miss these assignments, it's gonna greatly impact your grade. I'm just letting you guys know. So, as far as the test, I thought there'd be more A's. There were A's, don't get me wrong. I thought there'd be a few more. But what I did like, a lot of you did better than the previous test. Like everybody 5 points better, 7 points better. So that's really cool.
That's delightful what we're hearing.
What was that?
That's delightful to hear, sir.
Yeah. Which is, speaking of being here, that's another reason why it's important to be here as often as you can. Because I'm not only about giving you information that you need to know, I'm explaining it hopefully in a way that you're better able to understand and comprehend it. But you can't do that if you're not here. Sorry. But all right, now, but if for some of you miss the exam, or maybe you might miss a future exam, you're more than welcome, bless you, to make it up. Just get with me and we'll set up a time for you to make the exam up. It's pretty simple. Typically, that's gonna be after class on Tuesday or after class on Thursday. And if that doesn't work for you, get with me, we can arrange something else. Or, if you don't wanna make arrangements to take the exam you may have missed, or an exam you may miss in the future, you can also take it the day of the final, if you wanna do that. So you would take your final, and then you bring it to me, and then you give me the test that you missed. So that is always your option. So basically, you get with me, find out, and you let me know when you're available. Hopefully it fits my schedule, or you can wait until the final. Any questions about missing an exam? Any questions about the exam in general? All right. Well, without further ado, let us start a brand new chapter.
Development.
That's exactly correct, sir. Development, chapter 9. So, we've talked before about psychology is really about trying to understand people, who we are, why we do what we do, all of that. And so, part of trying to understand people is examining people throughout the different parts of their life. And these are some of the things we're going to be looking at.
Nature-nurture issue.
The nature versus nurture issue. What is that? What is the nature versus nurture issue? I will get into that momentarily. We're going to be talking about prenatal development and the newborn. And then we're going to continue through the lifespan. Talk about infancy and childhood. Then we're going to get to adolescence, because I know everybody loves adolescence. It's great being a teenager, right? And then finally, adulthood. All right. So let's begin first by defining developmental psychology. You guys get a moment to jot that down.
Developmental psychology.
Who needs to sign the attendance sheets? Go to that.
The branch of psychology. That studies of the patterns. No, not yet.
Oh, just check.
And Mr. Jones, could you go back, please, once we're done?
If you like.
Absolutely. Behavior genetics.
Developmental psychology. The textbook defines it as the branch of psychology that studies
We study the effects.
the different patterns of growth and change that occur throughout life. That's kind of what I said earlier. There's a lot of things that happen that affect us or cause changes to take place. Some of that is genetics, heredity, things we inherit from our family.
Behavior.
Some people talk about how we
And
are
there is
impacted
evolutionary
by
psychology.
the traits we inherit from others. And then there are people who talk about the role that nature or environment has on us. And that is what nature-nurture issue is all about. It's actually been debated, nature versus nurture. What has a greater impact on us? The genes, the genetics within us, what we inherit from our parents and grandparents, or is it nature? Is it environment? Does our environment play a greater role on who we are?
Of the degree.
Anybody have any thoughts on that? What has more impact?
To which environment?
What we inherit from our friends, from our family, or is it the environment? What do you think? You think it's more environment? Why do you say that?
Heredity. Heredity influence behavior. And now, Mr. Jones, can you go back, please?
Okay. So Katie feels that it's more about
Infancy and childhood.
environment, because it's the people you're around. And environment includes not only your family, but environment also includes your community. Environment also includes the people you spend the most time with. There's a saying that goes, we're the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with.
Carry on.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's interesting. So, who thinks it's not about environment, it's about who we are on the inside? Basically, it's about genetics. Who believes that? Now, what do you mean by that?
I think it's more 50-50.
50-50? I tend to agree with you. Yes, I would agree with that, Carter. Now, I agree, but there's so many little nuances that can make a difference. For example, let me show you where it could go both ways, where it could be more nature, it could be nurture. If you grew up in a very violent community, that's what you're used to. Everybody is doing drugs and violence. The odds of you falling into that, especially your friends are doing it, is really higher. It's not guaranteed, but it's higher because your friends are in gangs, your friends are dealing drugs. That's what you guys are. Everybody's getting high all the time. Everybody's dropping out of school. No one goes to class, or you don't go either. So in that case, your environment probably is going to have a bigger advantage of you as opposed to nurture, your genetics. Now, a case where genetics may supersede, you can inherit almost anything from your family. If you have some really great parents, let's say your parents are just really good at math or art, and you inherit that. It really doesn't matter what environment you grow up in. You're good at math, you're good at math. You're good at art, you're good at art. If you're just naturally gifted to be able to play the piano or another instrument, you are. That's not going to change. No matter what, you can be in a very violent community, you still have that talent, that gift that you more than likely inherited from a family member. So it kind of can go both ways. There's this, I think I mentioned it before, but Did anybody see this really old movie called Trading Places?
Please.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anyone else see? Anybody else see Trading Places? It stars this comedian who is known as a legend, but probably, I know he's not out there now, Eddie Murphy. Anybody know who Eddie Murphy is? Okay, where there you go. Okay, thank you. So he did this movie called Trading Places, where these wealthy old they had an investment firm, and they made a bet. They made a bet, like what was more impactful, environment or genes? And they were brothers. One of the brothers says, it's all about the breeding. It's like a fine racehorse. It's all about the genetics. And the other brother's like, no, I don't think so. I think anybody can be made to be great or whatever. And so they make this bet where they take this guy off the street who is Eddie Murphy, who's like a con man and a hustler. They take him and they basically give him a job at their firm, at their investment firm, and they teach him all about stocks and investing to show. And they even put him in a great house. He has an assistant, a servant, and then another guy named Dan Aykroyd, that's his actor name, he was the star of the company. They made his life trash. They had him get arrested, they took everything away from him, and they wanted to see if he was gonna be able to turn his life back around. So I won't say any more in case you want to see the movie, but it's pretty interesting and how that turned out. So Trading Places started Eddie Murphy. Okay, we don't need that. Hey, jot this down right quick. This is the term identical twins. So this concept of identical twins also allows us to look at how genetics plays a role. Does anybody here have a twin? No twins? Does anybody know any twins? Oh, my beautiful twins. Okay. So there's two types of twins. But right now, I just want to focus on identical twins. I'm going to show you other twins. I'm just sharing some information. I want you to know the difference between the two. Identical twins, these are twins, are people who are genetically identical. I'm going to show you an image of what makes them identical. And we'll begin the journey of development through the lifespan. We're going to start from the very beginning of life itself. Y'all good here?
I need to write it down.
Okay. Anybody, who has twins in their family?
Actually,
So that means, like in your case, Katie, you could have twins. Have you seen your family, right? Why you don't look like you want twins? Okay, I'm just saying it's what?
Too much at once.
Too much you want.
Too much at once.
Oh, too much at once.
I don't think I can handle too many at once.
Yeah, that could be very challenging for a lot of people. Actually, one child can be a handful.
I know, that's why I don't.
Oh, okay, that's right. Two at the same time. Because imagine you got two, you got one. You get one's finally to bed, the other one wakes up, and the other one is screaming. So you just, and then that's could be a bit of a challenge. All right. I can come back if you need to, okay, Saeed, or you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you just wrote down the definition of identical twins. Then there's something called fraternal twins. And just so you know the difference between the two. Identical twins, if you see up here, look at this picture. This is one sperm, and there's one egg. One sperm, one egg. But something happens when that sperm hits that egg for there to be identical twins. It divides into two. And then you have two babies. They're going to be the same sex. They're going to look alike. They're identical twins. Now, fraternal twins is totally different. So we have one sperm, one egg. Fraternal twins are when there's two separate sperms that gets together with two separate eggs to produce two babies at the same time. But because it's two different sperm and two different eggs, they are not identical. They just happen to be born at the same time. They literally, this is going to be corny, they shared a womb together. No, somebody back there? Okay. Yes.
I know a pair of fraternal triplets.
Fraternal triplets, okay. So that would mean there were three different sperm and three different eggs that produced three different kids. And they don't necessarily look alike. See, identical twins, that's gonna be the same sex, they're gonna look alike, all of that stuff. Fraternal twins, they're just like regular brothers and sisters. A lot of us don't look like our siblings, maybe a little bit. But that's what happens with fraternal twins. They don't really look alike. You can have one person that's dark, one person that's light, and they're twins. Two different sperm, two different egg, two different children. Okay, you got that? Great. We're not gonna spend too much time about chromosomes, but basically, the female has two X chromosomes, the male has an X and a Y, genes, but we're gonna get right to the beginning of life. Okay. So, everything starts, that big round thing, that is an egg. It's the female ovary. So, the mature egg is produced. Now, that thing right there, I know it's a big picture right there. It is so small. It's really this, think about opening up a textbook and you see a period at the end of a sentence. That's the egg. A period at the end of a sentence. Now, what happens, the eggs get released, and then from the male, these sperm get released, and they swim toward that egg. It's millions of sperm. They're all racing to get to this egg. It's literally a race. Think of it this way, it's a race. Who's gonna get to the egg first? Now, as they go into this egg, I told you how the size of the egg is like a period at the end of a sentence. That egg is 85,000 times larger than the sperm. So like that little sperm is like going on landing on a large spaceship or like a small planet. Now, the race is important because some of them die along the way as they're racing to get to the egg. Some of them are dying off. But the one who gets there first, in the second picture, that is a sperm meeting the egg and going inside. The one who wins the race, the sperm who gets there first, once that sperm gets there, it's like an invisible force field comes around the egg so no other sperm can get through. So it's like, I won and you guys can't get in, and that's it. Like this coating, this protective coating takes place when that first sperm breaks through. And that's the beginning. That starts us to first produce what's known as a zygote, and then an embryo. Jot that down, and we will dive a little deeper into the difference between the zygote and the embryo. This is after the race has been over, and that one sperm won. Who else needs to sign the attendance sheet? Where's the other one?
An egg and
okay, I'll bring it up. Where's the other sheet at?
egg and sperm. I developed a zygote that has a heart, brain, and other organs.
So you're writing down the definition of a zygote and an embryo. These are the next two stages of development.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
The prenatal development, the identical twins and fraternal twins. Identical twins develop from a single what?
That's the identical.
Could you go back?
But you won't need it on the test though. It's not gonna be on the test.
Oh.
So if you want it for your own personal information, I'll go back, but it won't be on the test though.
Certainly, sir.
So I know some of you are still writing, but let's talk about a zygote. We just talked about that one sperm winning the race, getting to this gigantic egg. The first 2 weeks, this new cell that is formed is called a zygote. This is the union of the egg and the sperm. It's called a zygote. This is what it's called for the first 2 weeks. It's a zygote. And it is developing really rapidly because it's just what they call cellular division. So these 2 cells create 4 cells. These 4 cells become 8 cells. The cells are just rapidly expanding. Rapidly. That's the first 2 week period. So make sure you understand that this is only the first 2 weeks. Once we get past the 2nd week, it is now called an embryo. First it was a zygote, now it's an embryo. Now that we're past week 2. And an embryo is a developed zygote. And during this stage, it has a heart, it has a brain, and the other organisms are being developed. It pretty much stays at this stage from 2 weeks to 8 weeks. It's an embryo. As hard as, all these things are forming, and we're on the way to producing a baby. Everybody good here? And then finally, it becomes a fetus. Zygote to an embryo, and now it is a fetus. This is from 8 weeks. Once it's 8 weeks old until it is birthed, until it is born, it is a fetus. And then underneath that is age of viability. I will discuss that as well, but I do want you to write that down. Now, once it's a developing fetus, that's when it's moving around inside the mother. The mother can feel that there is something inside. By the way, are there any parents in here? Just check. I mean, if you want to share, you don't have to share. But just check.
Can survive if
So the fetus from 8 weeks until the conception. Now there's a term called the age of viability. That's what's on the bottom half of the screen. This is the point at which a fetus can survive if it's born prematurely. Now unfortunately, a lot of children, a lot of babies are born prematurely. But there's a point where if they're born too early, they probably won't survive. That's called the age of viability, the point at which a fetus can survive if it's born early. And that's usually at about 22 weeks. So at about 22 weeks, it's gonna be, if it's born, it's gonna be premature, but it has a chance to survive. It may not be a great chance, because it's really weak and wasn't supposed to be born in 22 weeks, but it can, there's a chance that it can. Under 22 weeks, the odds go down drastically. It probably won't be able to make it outside of the mother. So that's what the age of viability is all about. The point in which the fetus can survive if it's born really, 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 really early. Because 22 weeks is nothing like 9 months. If it's born really young, it's in the palm of your hand. I mean, it's that small. Now, there are certain things that might take place, certain situations that can compromise the newborn's health. or maybe even cause the child to be born prematurely. In certain situations that can impact the health of a child, they're called teratogens.
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 Environmental agents such as a drug, chemical, virus, or other factor that produces a birth defect.
And as you are writing this down, please know that teratogens are not good when it comes to a baby. This is not something that you want an unborn infant exposed to.
Disappointing. Something.
When we're talking about an unborn child,
Reduce.
environment matters significantly. Significant. That includes the environment inside the womb of the mother. That includes the environment of the health of the mother. And that also includes what the mother is exposed to in her world. Because depending on what the mother and the unborn child are exposed to, it can affect the health of that child. Teratogens, environmental agents such
Use
as
small amounts of
drug,
alcohol.
chemical, virus, or other factors that produce a birth defect. If a mother takes drugs while she is pregnant, it can cause a problem for the unborn child. That could be an over-the-counter drug, or it could be illegal substance. Marijuana, it could be anything. If the mother gets really sick, she catches a virus, she gets a fever, it can affect the health of that unborn child. And so some of the major prenatal environmental influences are the mother's nutrition.
Fetal alcohols.
Which is why a lot of women, when they get pregnant, they usually get, not only have to watch their diet, but they get what's called prenatal vitamins. Is to ensure the mother is getting all that she needs, but more importantly, all the baby needs. Like I said, the mother's illness, if she gets sick, I already mentioned that. The mother's emotional state. It's not that great for a mother to be really struggling with her mental health.
Primary.
I have a client. I can't say if this affected her child. I don't know that fact.
Preventable.
But it was a concern of mine. So I have a client. I do individual therapy with her, and I do couples. I used to do couples therapy with her.
Intellectual.
She had, she lived with her partner, her significant other. They have been together for a long time. They had a teenager, but now they were never married, but now they have a new baby on the way. They had so many intense arguments and fights with her. So many. I'm talking name calling, profanity, screaming, yelling. Sometimes even during our couple session, it was this intense, and I would keep repeatedly trying to calm the mom down. I would say, so-and-so, you're carrying an unborn child. Like, you need to try to keep yourself as calm as possible. Because her intense emotional state could be impacting the baby. The baby feels what the mother feels. So many times I'm like, so-and-so, let's take a breath. I really want to get you calm down. I know you're upset, but no one's benefiting from your state right now. Fast forward, fortunately, she was able to go full term and have a healthy little boy born. It's a coincidence, but I have to tell you, that little baby, from the moment it was born, has been a handful. Very emotional, cries a lot, gets angry a lot. To this day, he's 2 now. And he's difficult with sitters. Sometimes he's difficult with her. I mean, for the most part, he's a great child. When he's happy, he's happy. But he can get moody very, very quickly. When he was born, he kept both of them up all, well, really the mother, because the dad wasn't around that much, but kept her up all the time. Like he always seemed agitated. Now, was that because she was constantly arguing and fighting with the father? I don't know for sure. But it's hard for me to think it didn't play a role. So that's why mother's emotional state is important. Mother's use of drug, alcohol, and or nicotine. You know, back in the day, like when I'm old. Back in my day, no one told mothers not to smoke cigarettes. So a pregnant woman could smoke a cigarette, and nobody thought it was a big deal. Clearly, we know now, no, that's not a good idea. And speaking of alcohol, if a mother just uses even a small amount of alcohol during pregnancy, she's at risk of giving that child fetal alcohol syndrome. The baby could be born with an addiction. Not just alcohol, though, even drugs. If the mother uses drugs, the child can now be born with an addiction to drugs. Alcohol, drugs, all sorts of things. Now, here's a list. You don't need to write any of these down. These are other teratogens or things that could negatively impact a newborn. I'm just running through this quick. We got rubella, which is German measles. On a child, it could produce blindness or deafness, syphilis, drug addiction, nicotine, alcohol, radiation from x-rays, inadequate diet. These are AIDS, Accutane. All these things can negatively impact the unborn child. It's a full list. All right. So now, the sperm has got with the egg, the fetus has developed, and now it's born. We have a newborn child. A newborn child is called a neonate. So here we are. Congratulations, the baby's here, yes. And from the moment the baby is here, the baby has reflexes, sucking reflexes. It may have to clear its throat. It can be startled. The Babinski reflex, but the Babinski reflex is when like you rub the bottom of the baby's foot and their foot curls up like that. So they can feel and sense things, the reflex, and they're here. This is stuff that's going on.
Sir, could you go back, please? I didn't.
But you need to write down. There's nothing to write down though. So nothing to write down here. So I'll come back later after class if you need. I want to make sure that we can do a lot of this. This is a pretty lengthy chapter. But after class though, let me know what you need. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, first year, this child grows really quickly. Their birth rate will triple, and their height will increase by like half the first year. This baby's growing. Now, from ages 3 to the beginning of adolescence, growth averages a gain of 5 pounds and 3 inches a year. Okay? So now the baby's just, so we're going through middle childhood now. Now here's something that's important. When a child is young, attachment needs to be present. You can jot down what attachment means, but attachment can affect both the mental and the physical health of the child. And by the way, attachment is not only important for a child. Healthy attachment is important in most animals or mammals. We are going to briefly look at something called Harlow's study on monkeys. We're going to see how monkeys develop attachment. And then we're going to have a brief discussion. So you guys will get a chance to put on your critical thinking skill hats. After I show you this video, I want to get your thoughts on this video. Attachment, the positive emotional bond that develops between a child and a particular individual. Oftentimes when a child is born in the hospital, once they get that baby cleaned up, they immediately want skin-to-skin contact. They want that baby lying on their mother. So attachment is being started right there because that is important. That's a very important bond. You guys wrote that down? Okay. Now, let's talk about this Harlow monkey study. And by the way, the video I'm going to show you, it's going to seem kind of cruel. I'm just giving you an answer. So what the Harlow monkey infant study, what it was, he gave these baby monkeys a choice to either choose the warm, fuzzy, fake mother or the mother that provided milk. That's the little wire thing. Now, here's some of the cruelty that I'm being honest, I'm not a fan of it. They took these baby monkeys from the mother and never gave, they permanently separated. They didn't even let the baby monkeys be with other baby monkeys. These baby monkeys were completely, totally isolated from any other monkey. But that attachment with the mother is extremely important. And so the goal was to determine which would the baby monkey choose? The comfort of the soft monkey, would it prefer that, or would it choose the nutrition that it will get from milk? Let's see what the baby monkeys chose. It's only 2 minutes, it's like a 2-minute video. And then we're going to discuss what you're about to, we're going to discuss what you're seeing right now.
Newborn rhesus monkeys will grow up not in accordance with nature, but in the controlled atmosphere of a laboratory, where all the psychological influences of childhood can be duplicated. In a classic continuing study, infant monkeys are removed from the mother at birth and raised in semi-isolation. Other individuals can be seen and heard, but there is no physical contact, no interaction. Mother is a bit of plastic and shaggy cloth, a doll with no life of its own, but capable of nourishing the life of an infant. The monkey will come to depend upon this doll to satisfy basic necessities of life. Not only nourishment, but a deeper psychological need for comfort and security. In primate infants, there is an instinctive need to cling to another body, soft and warm. Food or security? Which is motherhood's stronger appeal? Alongside a warm, familiar mother of cloth is a stark wire doll set up as nothing more than a feeding machine. The young monkey is placed deliberately on a cloth mother which has no milk to nourish him, but fulfills some fundamental needs. This experiment revolves around one simple question. Will the infant monkey switch his affection to a wire mother which offers food and life itself? Only when forced by hunger does he loosen his grip and begin to yield to nature's most powerful internal drive. From the wire mother he derives one thing, nourishment. No warmth, no comfort, no feeling of security. After feeding, he returns to spend up to 22 hours a day near the only mother he knows. From this inanimate object, the infant derives all the security and mother love he needs. He can, if also exposed early to other young, grow into a normal, well-adjusted adult.
All right.
It can be really easy.
It's a very unique, yes. Okay. Let's talk about what you just saw. Let me get your thoughts on what you saw first. Tell me about the, yes.
It tried hardest to stay with the human, the real life. Did you see how it didn't want to go away from that
It
living
screamed.
hand?
It cried. It literally cried. Yes. Did anybody saw that?
Like ran back.
Like it literally ran back while it was screaming. While it was
Continuously.
crying. So, why do you think that happened? You don't think it wanted the inanimate wire covering thing? No? Anybody else? What'd you notice? What's your thoughts about the video? Come on. What is that, James?
Well, I think it's more it finding a comfortable area.
So you think it was about comfort? The guy at the end of the talk, he said, the cloth monkey will provide all the mothering that it needs. Do you believe that? Let's be critical thinkers.
It's like saying an iPad's all a child needs.
You don't think a child could just give out an iPad?
No.
No.
I need to take that iPad away, I swear.
So why, okay, well, let's look at this. So why did the monkey choose this over this most of the time, except when it was hungry? Yes, Diego.
I think it's because in nature, any newborn or young animal is kind of at the mercy of the environment, so it sticks close to its mother, which is what usually is the only thing that protects it.
Okay.
So that's also a survival thing that's just ingrained into them.
Okay. Anybody else? Why did the monkey choose, for the most part, unless it was hungry, why did it choose the one that's covered with the soft material?
Well, he said there's a deep psychological need for security and comfort.
Does the monkey, is it getting deep psychological need met by the cloth monkey? Is the psychological
I
need
mean,
being met?
it's the closest thing, so, I mean, you either take it or leave it.
Is it a psychological need being met, or is it a physical need for comfort?
Physical need for comfort.
If you were in a cabin overnight, this is such a weird experiment. And there's two beds. One has a mattress and one just has the wire springs. Which one you sleeping on?
Floor.
But who's sleeping on the spring mattress, which is springs and nothing else? Does that mean that the fact that you chose the one with the mattress, does that mean that you're getting a greater connection? Or something psychologically met? Anybody think you're getting anything psychologically met? Or is it just about comfort? What was that? Comfort. So, and that's where, like I said, I want you guys to be critical thinkers. Question everything and everybody. You don't have to believe what somebody says. You don't have to believe what the scientist or researcher says. You don't have to believe what I even say, what's in your textbook. Think about it, do your own research, reach your own conclusions, because this is kind of a questionable experiment. We just discussed everything. Like, I don't even know how ethical it is to take a baby, even though it's a monkey's not human, from its mother to do this experiment. Because that doesn't represent a healthy attachment. A healthy attachment is a human being or a living being, which is why, as Amy pointed out, that monkey ran back to the aid, really didn't want to be in the cage at all. So, very good. All right, let's move on. These are different types of attachments. No need to write these down. Secure, this is when it comes to children, because attachment is so important. Securely attached children, they tend to grow up and be healthier people. They're able to explore their world. When she leaves, when the parent leaves them, they might become upset, but when they return, they bond and reconnect with the parent. That's just normal health. Children who don't have a healthier connection, they may become avoidant children. They may cry a lot. They may even avoid the mom. Ambivalent children, disorganized children. These are just different types of, the other ones, the bottom three are basically unhealthy attachments, which can definitely create a problem as that child gets older. So we're not gonna spend too much time on that. Children who are securely attached to their mothers, they tend to be more socially and emotionally competent than the lessly secure attached when they get older. As adults, children who are securely attached tend to actually have better relationships because they got the right type of attachment when they were younger. Fathers can also have really great healthy attachments with their children. I know we're talking mostly about mothers. They play a major role as well. Fathers, when they engage with children, they tend to engage a little differently than a mother. They tend to be more physical, rough and tumble activities. Like, it's not uncommon to see a father take a baby and throw it in the air. I don't know if that's a good idea, but you know, but you don't really see women don't tend to throw their baby up in the air. It's just, you don't usually see that. But that's still a form of connection and attachment in itself. All right, now, I'm gonna let you write this down. We're gonna discuss it, and then we're going to do one of our 5 brief in-class assignments. So if you don't have a sheet of paper or a pen, I suggest you borrow one from your classmate.
Those were rigged.
You need a sheet of paper. You will need to put your name on it. And it will count towards today's in-class activity. Remember, there's 5 of them. This is our 3rd one. In the meantime, what you're looking at are different parenting styles. And everybody in this room was raised
Obedience from their children.
by our parents that utilized one of these methods. Some of us were raised where our parents used more than one of these. Sometimes they used this one until we were this age, and then they used this one. Some of us, we were raised under one parenting style, and our sibling was raised in a different style.
Those were gave. Those who give their
But
children.
these are the 4 different parenting styles that your textbook wants us to focus on. These are different ways in which parents raise their children. Some of these are more helpful or positive than the others. And as you're writing, please notice there's 2 that kind of look a little similar. The top one, authoritarian, and then this one is authoritative.
Although they're warm.
Notice how I enlarged the letters on the back end of the word, because I really want you to know, pay attention to the difference and not just confuse between authoritarian and authoritative. Is there anybody who needs to sign their attendance sheet?
Those were firm, clear limits.
What's punitive?
Oh, okay.
Word, what is what mean?
The first punitive.
Oh, punitive. Punitive.
Clear limits. It's reason.
Punitive is like kind of quick to punish. Quick to punish.
Their children are smart things to.
I'm going to try to give you a couple of helpful hints to help you remember the difference between authoritarian and authoritative as well.
Uninvolved parents.
Let's start with you first. According to your text,
Those who show
they
little
define
interest.
authoritarian parents as those who are rigid and punitive and value unquestioning obedience from their children. In other words, these are the parents.
Children.
There is no debate. It's my way or the highway. This is what it is. You either follow my rules or you get consequences. Those consequences, that could be anything. It could be physical consequences. It could be taking away
Emotionally
privileges.
detached.
It's like, no, if I say you need to be in by 8, you need to be in by 8, not 8:01. Oh, you came in at 8:02? Oh, I got something for you. These, anybody else need to sign in? Anybody else need to sign? This parenting style, this is take no prisoners, this is no joke, this is what it is. You can get out if you don't like it. There's no negotiating. This is like a dictator. Like Hitler or something. This is the way it's gonna be, period. There are some of us, this is how we were raised.
Silent era?
Hmm?
Silent era?
What is that? Explain, what do you call the silent era?
Your grandparents, like, there was no questioning or talking back, it was what it is.
Definitely, a lot of older generations, that's how they parented. They used to say things like, children are seen and not heard. They would say things like that. Those parents would say things like, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. My mother had she had a few authoritarian tendencies. I'm not gonna say she was rigid and punitive, but there is no questioning. I was always a curious child. So as curious children, they always ask questions. So I would ask a lot. Well, my mom would say something and I would say, well, why? My mother couldn't stand me asking why. I would say, well, why? Or I would say, how come? And she might explain a little bit. She might say, because blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, but why? And then that was it. Because then I got, because I said so. And when she said, because I said so, that was her way of communicating. The discussion is over. There is nothing else that needs to be said. Keep talking and you will have consequences. You hate that?
It's just like, you just want the kids to stop talking. It's like, you're doing too much.
You're doing too much. Clearly, that's not a parenting style you would like.
We don't have fun.
Well, but then that's when you deal with a parent. See, you guys have grew up in an era of something called like Department of Children and Family Services. You guys are in an era where you can make a DFACS call. DFACS wasn't always around. So parents and grandparents got to discipline their children any way they wanted to. Matter of fact, they'd even, if they were a Christian family, they could use the Bible and be like, spare the rod and spoil the child. In other words, if the children disobey, you're more than right to give them corporal punishment or physical punishment. It was justified. You wouldn't have went to school and had a bruise and they would have made a phone call. No. I'm not even super old, and to show you how different things were, from first, second, third, fourth grade, I went to a Catholic school. Back then, nuns could hit you. Nuns had either rulers or paddles. If they could hit you on your backside. I remember one of my, because the nuns were the teachers. I remember one of my teachers, you would have to hold out your hand and she would smack you with a ruler. And depending on what you did, that determined how many smacks you got. So if you got 5, you get 5 licks, and you'd have to hold your hand out there. Whack! And then, and don't try to close, because if you tried to close your hand, that didn't count. So your knuckles got hit, but that's not one of your 5 because you closed your hand. So you'd have to hold your hand over, whack! Your hand getting all red, because each one is getting redder and it's stinging more. You do it again until you get your 5. That's, there was no defects to call then. You know, if they did that now, that school and that school district would be sued so quickly.
That
Yes.
happened to me, but they hit me in my back.
They hit you in the back?
Yeah.
What was this at?
Oh, this is,
Was this public school?
yeah, it's a public school.
They're not supposed to do that.
Oh, but it wasn't in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, I can't speak for in other
Yeah,
countries.
but they're still not allowed to do that.
Oh, they weren't, but they still did it.
No, yeah. He hit me. He hit me in my back, and my grandma went to her and was like, you're such a miserable woman, no wonder you can't have kids to have kids. And like, ever since then,
Your mother didn't play, your mother just punched her like verbally, right in the stomach.
yeah, and she was
That
like,
is
she was
disgraceful.
Like, it's not my fault she was like, it's not my fault you feel this rage inside of you and you feel the need to take it out on my granddaughter. And yeah, she was just nice to me afterwards.
I bet she was. My
That
goodness.
is disgraceful.
I'm gonna tell you this really funny story when I was in Catholic school. I went to public school at 5th grade on, but I remember this so vividly. There was a boy in the classroom. He kept goofing around and talking, and the nun said, "If you don't be quiet, I'm gonna have you eating soap." And he said he kept talking. I witnessed it with my own eyes, my own 4th, 3rd grade eyes. She had him come and stand in the front of the classroom while she handed him a bar of soap and made him eat it. Like, it was a thin bar, but she still made him do it. And I was just like, I was stunned. I was like, no, eating and swallowing it.
That's nice.
I witnessed it, and I was just like, that's why hey, the nuns, they told me to be quiet. Oh, I was, because they didn't play. I don't want to, and I have been hit with a ruler. Like, yeah, I remember like goofing, because we used to hang our coats in this little closet area. I think I was goofing around with one of my classmates or something. So we were playing around, being goofy, just being goofy little boys. And she called us playing around. Hold your hand out. You want to say something, Jen?
No, I heard that was like a method for like applying that for some.
There's a method for anything if they didn't tell us they might be doing. Anything. If you weren't listening, if you were playing around, if you were goofing around, if you were being inappropriate, if you were fighting with another kid, that's the way it was. Okay, so let's run through these parenting styles so you can do today's in-class assignment. Authoritarian, we already talked about that, very rigid and punitive. Now, permissive parents, they are far more relaxed and really kind of inconsistent with how they even raise the kids. They're warm, they're nice, but they don't expect anything of the kids. They pretty much let the kids do what they want to do. There's no real consequences. Oh, you didn't study for the test? Oh, okay. Oh, you stayed out longer than you should have. You're supposed to be in at 6 instead of 6:30. It's just far more relaxed. It's okay. They're very permissive.
Could guilt parenting fall into that?
Now, why they do that? They could, so a parent could have some guilt stuff going on, and so maybe that's why they're being really permissive. I've had a client who, I've noticed clients, if a parent knows their child has been through some rough stuff, they tend to be more permissive. Now, when I say rough stuff, it could be something as serious as they know their child, their son, their daughter was molested earlier in life. And so they'll be more, or if their child has a physical health condition, like I've had a client where the boy had, he was he like crazy diabetic levels or something. And so she would let him play video games all day when not even worried about doing his homework. Yes, I.
What's the in-class assignment today?
What's what?
The in-class assignment today now?
We'll get to it in a second. Just hold the horses, we'll get there. So that's a permissive parent. Now, authoritative parents, they set firm, clear limits, but they're able to reason with their children. They can sit down and talk with them. They'll explain things to them. They'll be like, okay, I know it's summertime, but you're supposed to be in bed by 10. You secretly stayed up till 11. So we have rules here. So because of that, you can't play your video game. Now, you want to tell me why you stayed up? Well, I couldn't sleep because I blah, blah, blah. Okay, and they may say, okay, well, I understand this. So maybe tell you what, since you couldn't sleep, we'll let it pass. Like they're willing to listen and negotiate. An authoritative parent is far more flexible. Now, like I said, they have rules now. I don't want you to think these parents are super soft. They're not like permissive parents. They have firm rules, but they're willing to hear things out. They're willing to discuss things. They're willing to explain, here's why this rule is in place. When we cross the street, you're only 5. I need you to hold my hand. I know you may not want to, but it's important for your safety because some kids get hit by a car. That's an authoritative parent taking the time to explain why this rule is necessary at this point in your young life. And then finally, we have uninvolved parents. These parents don't really show any interest in their children. They are emotionally detached. It will look like they don't even really care about their child.
So what's the in-class assignment now?
It's coming. Patience is a virtue. So patience is so important in life.
Yes,
you have
sir.
To learn that. If you were a farmer and you planted crops, you have to wait before you can harvest.
Yeah.
So now to address Saeed's question, those are the 4. I need you to write down on a sheet of paper, put your name on it. How were you parented? Authoritative or uninvolved? And if you were parented, I need at least one example of why you believe you were raised that way. Just one example. You know, our in-class assignments, they're very brief, they don't take long, it shouldn't take but like three minutes, and we're moving on. Just leave it on your desk.
How are we unparented?
Was your parent, did they use authoritarian techniques? Were they permissive? Were they authoritative? Or were they, how do you think?
Permissive
Permissive, meaning they just.
or
So
authoritative?
How do you think you were raised?
I was raised caringly.
So would you say, is that authority? Your definitions, I'm gonna go back for a second. So which one of these methods were you raised? Do you think? Now, some of you, like I said, based upon your age, at one point this way, and you got older, and their parenting style changed. Their parenting style may have changed.
No, they just got soft.
they got soft. It happens. It happens. So, like I said, just pick which style do you think you were parented, which styles were used to parent you, and just give one example why you. Yes, sir.
What if you were raised by parents who treat you with love, but order you to learn obedience.
That sounds like authoritative. Parents who set firm, clear limits, but they're able to reason with their children and explain things. That sounds like a very authoritative parent. Which be the accepted, healthiest way to authoritative. Parents who set limits are also willing to reason and talk to their child. They explain why the rules are in place. That tends to be the preferred method. But realistically, every child is not being raised by authoritative parents. It's just not there. And simply say, give you a couple more minutes. So, like I said, all it is really one sentence. We don't need anything really lengthy. It's just one example. Or an example.
You don't wanna know our lifelong trauma?
Lifelong trauma. It's not this time. Maybe Thursday. Maybe it's there.
That's extra credit.
Great. Let's dive into all of our functional upbringings and our family. Yes, I told you guys do. I can't even. It's unethical. It's what we call a dual relationship, because I am your. I can't be different people. That's two different types of your relationship. It's a relationship.
Am I supposed to write one or two things about me?
Just one. I mean, unless, yeah, if you want.
Okay.
So there's no wrong answers here. By just writing, this is how you get credit. Okay.